Every drop of water was a battle, and my daughter's pale lips were the casualty. The Kingdom of Al-Jabar, a nation boasting one of the highest military GDPs in the world, was, paradoxically, on the precipice of collapse, teetering over the abyss of thirst. A desperate ultimatum hung in the air. If Singapore, this small island nation, failed to deliver on its outlandish promise of water within 48 hours, every Singaporean working in our lands would be expelled. A harsh decree from our government. Most people, myself included, saw it as a grand, theatrical bluff. How could a country, however advanced in electronics or city planning, conjure water from a cursed desert in mere hours, when dozens of the world's best, with their sophisticated machinery and legions of engineers, had failed? For 10 years, I, Hamid Musikt, had been the water resource manager for the Al-Shimal district in the north. No prince, no magnate, just a civil servant. Yet my life was a relentless hell. My internal clock, more reliable than any alarm, dragged me awake at 4 a.m., not by choice, but by the gnawing anxiety of the day's water ration. My wife, Sarah, and our 10-year-old daughter, Noura, depended on me. Washing my face was a rare indulgence, a splash from a tiny cup, the rest wiped with a damp cloth. Brushing teeth, a single gulp. Baths? Once a month, a 5-minute scramble, not a second more. 5 liters. Papa. Noura would whisper each morning, her small voice a stark reminder of our family's entire allowance, barely enough to sustain life in this relentless heat. This was not living. It was merely existing. Our land, it was said, was cursed, and this curse had taken hold 80 years ago. The subterranean geology here was a peculiar beast, a sponge-like rock structure that eagerly pulled in seawater. The deeper we drilled, the more saline the water became, tainting everything. Saeed, my colleague, often Syed, recalling tales from his grandfather's time of fresh springs. But people got greedy, he'd lament. Drilled too deep, connected to the ocean. Now there's no turning back. Every Tuesday was water distribution day, a dehumanizing ritual. I'd queue from 3 a.m., standing for hours under the harsh pre-dawn sky, just for the chance to collect water that, even after the state's processing, remained stubbornly salty. It was never enough. We'd inevitably turn to the black market, a shadowy economy thriving on our misery. 50 reals a liter, sometimes more. More expensive than oil, for crying out loud. I'd protest, recalling that just last week it was 40. The merchant, his eyes as dry as the desert sand, would simply shrug. Water's more precious now, brother. Don't want it? Don't buy. I had no choice. My entire civil servant's salary, a lifeline for most, became a tribute to this unforgiving thirst. The day Noura collapsed after school is etched into my memory. Her face, ghostly pale, her lips, a chilling blue. My frantic cries of Noura, Noura, were met with deafening silence. The ambulance took 40 minutes, an eternity of terror as I held her limp body. At the hospital, the doctor's grim face confirmed my worst fears, severe dehydration. She's not the only one, mister. Hamid, he'd said, his voice weary. Over 20 cases today alone. If this continues, it'll be a catastrophe. Watching Noura hooked up to an IV, a needle draining life back into her fragile arm, my heart shattered. I, her father, couldn't even provide her with clean water. The shame was a physical ache. Khalid, my director, found me in Noura's room. His shoulders, usually stiff with officialdom, were slumped. The French company finally pulled out, he announced, his voice devoid of emotion. 6 months they worked, then surrendered. Another failure. Dozens of companies, American, German, British, Israeli, with their advanced technologies and boasts of expertise, had all come, made grand pronouncements, and then retreated, defeated by our land's peculiar geology. We are a cursed land, Khalid sighed, the words tasting like ash. Perhaps we should just abandon it all, leave. But I couldn't. This parched, unforgiving ground was my home, Noura's birthplace. That night, I climbed to the hospital rooftop, staring at a sky devoid of stars, much like our future. Allah, grant us water, I whispered, the plea a raw, desperate gasp. What sins have we committed? Why must these children suffer so? Only the wind, hot and dry, answered. A week later, Noura was discharged, but the doctor's warning echoed in my mind. Next time, we might not stop it. Clean water was a necessity, not a luxury for a child. On the drive home, an unexpected news report crackled through the radio. In the neighboring Al-Hajar Emirati, a river, a veritable river, had been conjured from the desert by Singaporean technology. A region that had known 60 years of chronic water scarcity was now transforming into a fertile agricultural oasis. "Papa," Noura asked, her eyes sparkling. "A flicker of hope I hadn't seen in years. Can we ask the Singaporeans to help us too?" My heart tightened. I dreaded the thought of offering false hope, of another bitter disappointment. Our geology, I knew, was far more complex than Al-Hajar's. Yet, a tiny, defiant seed of curiosity had been planted. The news from Al-Hajar was relentless, plastered across every screen. The same footage played on repeat. A clear, flowing river, birthed by Singaporeans, cutting through the lifeless desert. Children splashing in its depths, farmers irrigating lush green fields. It was surreal. "Is that really Al-Hajar?" Sarah asked, her voice hushed with disbelief. "The Al-Hajar we know?" Yes, it was. They had been, if anything, less prosperous than us. Now, everything had changed. At work, the topic was unavoidable. Rashid, always cynical, scoffed, "Singaporeans? Aren't they just about their gadgets and fancy bubble tea?" But Saeed, ever the pragmatist, interjected, "I heard they're good at precision engineering." Rashid snorted. "What's precision engineering got to do with geology? Different ballgame entirely." But the facts were undeniable. The government's official data flashed across screens. 100,000 liters of water daily, 99% desalination. And there, clearly cited, was the name, Shengtai Hydrotech, Singapore. A few days later, I was summoned to an emergency government meeting, chaired by the Minister of Water Resources himself. The minister's face was a thundercloud. "Everyone knows about Al-Hajar's success," he boomed, his gaze sweeping across the room, demanding an answer no one could provide. They're asking, "Is our emirate worse than Al-Hajar?" The silence in the room was deafening, thick with the unpalatable truth. We were richer, yes, far richer in resources, yet we couldn't solve a problem that Al-Hajar, ostensibly poorer, had overcome. "Hamid," the minister's gaze pinned me. "As the man responsible for Al-Shimal, what do you say?" I began to explain. "Minister, our region's geology is fundamentally different from Al-Hajar's, our basalt." He cut me off, his voice rising in frustration. "I don't want excuses. Al-Hajar failed for 60 years. The Singaporeans solved their problem. Why can't we?" I left that meeting feeling crushed, squeezed between the impossible demands from above and the desperate cries of thirst from below. That evening, Noura, bent over her homework, asked, "Papa, where is Singapore?" I unfolded a map, tracing the distant outlines. "It's an island nation, far to the east of Eurasia. If it's an island, maybe they really do have that kind of technology," she mused, her innocence cutting through my cynicism. "What makes them so special?" The next day brought shocking news. "Khalid just got back from Al-Hajar," Saeed exclaimed, his voice buzzing with excitement. "He went himself!" He said it's all true. In the afternoon I met Khalid. His face, usually stoic, was a battlefield of emotions. "I saw it with my own eyes," he breathed, a profound sense of wonder in his voice. "It's a genuine miracle, unbelievable. A river, truly flowing, in that cursed land. Children swimming." He paused, shaking his head. "But you know what's most astonishing? The Singaporean team took only 2 weeks to get the first drop of water. 2 weeks. The Germans spent 2 years, the French 1 year, and failed." He showed me a photograph, a small team of Singaporean engineers with Al-Hajar officials. "This is their team leader, Miss Chen Su-Yuan." She looked ordinary. A woman, seemingly in her 40s, slender, with glasses. "Yes, they dismissed her initially in Al-Hajar too," Khalid continued, a wry smile touching his lips. "Now, she's revered as a hero." My phone rang, startling me. It was the minister's office. "Hamid, the minister wants to see you tomorrow morning. A crucial decision is to be made. Be prepared." My heart pounded. Were we finally going to ask Singapore for help? I returned home, the weight of the coming decision pressing down on me. I told my family about the impending meeting. "Are the Singaporeans coming, Papa?" Noura's eyes shone with a terrifying hope. "It's not certain yet, my dear," I replied, forcing a calm I didn't feel. "Our geology is very peculiar, far more complicated than Al-Hajar's. The chances of failure are very high." Sarah took my hand, her grip firm. "Even so, Hamid, we should try." For Noura, hope and fear warred within me. If even the Singaporeans, with their supposed miracle working, failed, then our last, fragile thread of hope would snap. I gazed out the window at the bright desert moon. Perhaps the same moon hung over Al-Hajar, but there, people could watch it without the crushing burden of thirst. Allah, I silently prayed, give us a chance. If Al-Hajar could do it, we must. We have to. But deep down, an unsettling feeling lingered. What damage would this inflict upon our pride, and what desperate choices would we be forced to make if this last gamble failed? The fear of the unknown, of the world seeing our rich nation humbled, was a bitter pill to swallow. The next morning, walking into the minister's office, I found an unexpected presence. Besides the usual senior officials, a team of East Asian individuals sat quietly. Hamid, the minister announced, his voice tight with suppressed tension. These are the Shengtai Hydrotech team from Singapore. He gestured towards a woman. And this is their team leader, Miss Chen Suyuan. I was surprised. A woman? She looked to be in her 40s, around 165 centimeters tall, with glasses, giving off a rather unassuming, even delicate impression. Greetings, I am Chen Suyuan, she said, her Arabic surprisingly fluent. You speak Arabic? I blurted out. She smiled faintly. Yes, I studied at Cairo University for a year. It was crucial for my research into Middle Eastern geology. Her immediate departure from the norm was striking. Every other foreign expert had relied on English and translators. The minister, impatient, cut to the chase. Leader Chen, have you reviewed the conditions we proposed? Yes, she replied, her gaze steady. We've analyzed the geological data for Al-Shimal. The conclusion? She brought out a tablet. Frankly, it's 3 times more difficult than Al-Hajar. The seawater penetration is exceptionally deep. The officials' faces fell. So, you give up? One of them ventured, a hint of dark satisfaction in his voice. Chen Suyuan simply smiled. I said difficult, not impossible. Singapore's west coast has similar geological structures. We have experience dealing with this. How long will it take? The minister pressed, a note of desperation in his voice. Everyone held their breath. I hear it only took 2 weeks in Al-Hajar. 48 hours will suffice, Chen Suyuan stated, her voice calm and assured. What? The minister practically leaped from his seat. 48 hours? But you said it's harder, and yet you demand less time? We've developed new technology, she explained, unflustered. Our fracture trace system is now more precise, faster. A sneering official scoffed. More big talk. You'll just cut and run when you fail, like the others. Chen Suyuan turned to him, her eyes sharp. Then let's make a wager. If we fail to complete this in 48 hours, we will bear all costs and agree to be banned from your country for the next decade. The room erupted in murmurs. But, she continued, her voice rising above the din, if we succeed, we demand appropriate compensation and, more importantly, your complete trust and cooperation. Doubt and hesitation will only waste precious time. The minister turned to me. Hamid, as the site manager, what do you think? Honestly, I was deeply uneasy. 48 hours seemed an insane deadline. Yet, looking at this woman, a strange conviction bloomed within me. Minister, I replied, my voice steadier than I felt. I believe it's worth the risk. Good, the minister declared, fixing his gaze on Chen Suyuan. But one condition. You must complete this in precisely 48 hours, 1 minute late, and you will be immediately expelled. Can you guarantee this? Without a doubt, she replied, her composure unwavering. In the car, heading to the drilling site, I couldn't help but ask her, 48 hours, Leader Chen? Do you truly believe it's possible? She turned to me, a thoughtful expression on her face. Mr. Hamid, do you know what we truly learned in Al-Hajar? What? I asked, intrigued. The decisive factor in setting the deadline wasn't our technology, but trust. She paused, her eyes searching mine. Al-Hajar chose to trust us. What about you? Her question stung, exposing my lingering skepticism, my own ingrained fear of yet another foreign failure. Upon arrival, the Singaporean team immediately sprang into action. They were fewer in number than previous foreign teams, yet their equipment was noticeably more advanced, more streamlined. What's this? I asked, pointing to a gleaming device. This is our latest ground-penetrating radar, a team member named Wang Jimin explained, his voice brimming with pride. 10 times more accurate than conventional models. As they meticulously set up, locals began to gather, their faces a mixture of weary curiosity and profound skepticism. More foreigners? Someone muttered. This time from Singapore? How long will they last? They had seen too many hopes dashed before. Noura, returning from school, spotted me. Papa, Are those the Singaporeans? Why are there so few of them? She'd seen the dozens of engineers from the previous teams. Chen Suyuan, overhearing, walked over. Hello, Noura. That's a beautiful name. She knelt to my daughter's level. Many people don't always mean better, dear. What truly matters is capability. She pulled out a small packet from her pocket. Here, coconut cookies. From Singapore. Noura's eyes widened, her small hands eagerly accepting the treat. Auntie, will our village really have water? Chen Suyuan gently stroked Noura's hair. Just a little more time, Noura. I promise, you'll drink clean water. Her words warmed my anxious heart, but the gnawing doubt remained. 48 hours? Was it truly possible? As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the desert in hues of orange and purple, the real work began. The Singaporean team prepared to work through the night. Mr. Hamid, Chen Suyuan asked, her voice calm amidst the hum of machinery. Could you perhaps make me a strong cup of tea? Of course, I replied, but tea is a luxury for us. Water, it's so expensive. She looked at me, a confident glint in her eyes. I know, but very soon, you'll be able to drink as much as you desire. Her certainty, before even a single drill had broken ground, was disarming, almost unsettling. Leader Chen, I ventured, why did you set such a dangerous deadline of 48 hours? She was already checking a console, her fingers moving with practiced ease. Mr. Hamid, a sense of urgency is the best motivator. The pressure of 48 hours forces us to concentrate our efforts to the absolute maximum. I glanced at my watch. 8 p.m. The precise 48-hour countdown, the clock of our destiny, had begun. The first 12 hours were a blur of intense reconnaissance. The Singaporean equipment whirred and beeped relentlessly, mapping the subterranean labyrinth beneath us. Around 3 a.m., Wang Jimin called me over. The screen displayed a complex array of graphs and colors. Mr. Hamid, at 150 meters below, do you see this unique cavity? He pointed to a distinct color shift. Could this be a freshwater pocket? My heart hammered. Chen Suyuan, who had worked through the entire night without a hint of fatigue, joined us. Exactly as my calculations indicated, she said, her voice quiet but firm. Your country's geology isn't merely a sponge. It's a vast, intricate maze. And somewhere within that maze, there are trapped pockets of fresh water. It was an astonishing revelation, something we hadn't uncovered in decades. They had deciphered in 12 hours. But then, Wang Jimin's voice carried a note of concern. The problem is, this fresh water is completely encapsulated by seawater. One misstep, and everything could mix. Chen Suyuan nodded. Precisely. This requires surgical precision. Just then, a government supervisor, his face creased with self-importance, strode onto the site. Found anything yet? He demanded, his tone laced with sarcasm. 12 hours already, and this is all you have? Looks like another failure. He sneered and departed, leaving the Singaporean engineers' faces to harden. Don't mind him, Chen Suyuan urged them, her voice a quiet balm. Keep working. The next 6 hours were spent creating a flawless 3D model, perfectly reconstructing the intricate underground structure. Incredible, I exclaimed, gazing at the detailed representation on the screen, revealing even the minuscule fissures within the rocky maze. Mr. Hamid, Chen Suyuan asked, do you still have the old geological survey maps from 80 years ago? I rummaged through the dusty archives in our warehouse, eventually retrieving the brittle, hand-drawn charts. Chen Suyuan meticulously compared them with her 3D model, her eyes alight with discovery. This is it, she declared. 80 years ago, this was an oasis. Of course there was fresh water. It simply sank, trapped beneath the seawater, deep within these layers. 18 hours in, the drill finally broke ground. But almost immediately, a group of administrative managers rushed onto the site, their faces contorted with indignation. What are you doing? One bellowed. Who authorized drilling without official permits? Chen Suyuan remained remarkably calm. This is part of the planned operation, she stated. You must acquire document approval first. Stop operations, another yelled. You yourselves promised 48 hours. A heated argument erupted, precious minutes ticking away. I stepped forward, my voice firm. As the site manager, I approve this. If anything goes wrong, I will bear full responsibility. I will sign an indemnity form. The managers, clearly uncomfortable with my resolve, grudgingly backed down. Chen Suyuan offered me a grateful glance, and the drilling resumed. 50 meters, then 100. The tension mounted with every turn of the drill bit. Stop at 120 meters, Wang Jimin shouted, his voice hoarse with excitement. Water detected. Everyone held their breath. A sample was carefully extracted. Chen Suyuan swiftly analyzed it. Salinity 0.3. A collective sigh of disappointment. Still salty, she confirmed. We need to go deeper. Yet, there was also a glimmer of hope. The salinity was significantly lower than that of seawater. 24 hours had passed, exactly halfway through our designated time. Still no clean water. Villagers, who had been gathering, began to disperse, their faces etched with familiar despair. Another failure, an old man muttered. We truly are a cursed land. But the Singaporean team worked on, their determination unyielding. Leader Chen, you should rest, a team member urged, concern in his voice. She simply shook her head. Notimi. Just then, Noura appeared, a small packet in her hand. Auntie, please eat this, she offered, her voice shy. We made these coconut cakes ourselves. Not much water, so we couldn't make many, but they'll give you strength. Chen Suyuan's eyes welled up slightly. Thank you, Noura. They looked delicious. The exhausted Singaporean engineers shared the small cakes, faint smiles gracing their tired faces. Noura, Chen Suyuan said, her voice gentle. Wait a little longer. You will drink clean water. 30 hours in, a breakthrough. Salinity dropping, Wang Jimin exclaimed, his voice hoarse with excitement. 0.1, 0.05%. Everyone clustered around the monitor, but a new problem emerged. The immense pressure from the surrounding seawater. If we don't install a barrier wall, Chen Suyuan explained, her voice grave, the fresh water will be recontaminated. But Leader Chen, Wang Jimin countered, installing a barrier wall usually takes 12 hours, and we only have 18 left. We can do it, Chen Suyuan stated, her resolve unshakable, with our rapid solidification technology. Another astonishing piece of engineering. What exactly had these people brought with them? My phone rang. It was the minister. Hamid, what's the situation? He demanded, his voice strained. We're close, minister, but time is running short. If they fail, you're finished, you know that. The pressure intensified, a vice tightening around my chest. Yet, strangely, I felt no fear. Watching the Singaporean team, their focused intensity, their quiet confidence, I was convinced. These people were different. They would succeed. At 10 p.m., 38 hours into the operation, with only 10 hours remaining, the Singaporean team moved with breathtaking speed. The barrier wall was prepped. The rapid curing polymer began to be injected. This technology was truly astonishing. The special polymer, once injected into the subterranean fissures, reacted instantly with the seawater, solidifying within minutes. How does it do that? I asked, bewildered. This is a technology we developed over 5 years, in collaboration with Singapore's Maritime Science and Technology Department, Wang Jimin explained, his chest puffed with pride. Once it touches seawater, it solidifies completely within 10 minutes. At 2 a.m., 42 hours in, having reached the 150-meter mark, everyone held their breath. Pressure test. Chen Suyuan cautiously turned a valve. For a second, then 2, then 3, nothing. Then, transparent droplets began to emerge. Water! Someone shouted, a raw, emotional cry. Chen Suyuan, her hands trembling slightly, collected the drops and inserted them into an analyzer. 0.01, she declared, her voice thick with emotion. This is the purest freshwater. A wave of joyous cheers erupted, washing over the site. But Chen Suyuan, ever the professional, maintained her composure. It's too early for celebration, she said, her voice still quiet. We need to confirm a stable flow. 3 hours later, they measured the well's flow rate. The results were astounding. With every passing hour, the volume increased. 2,000 liters per hour, then 3,000, then 5,000. How can this be? I asked, utterly bewildered. It's due to the pressure differential, Chen Suyuan explained, a hint of satisfaction in her voice. The barrier wall prevents seawater intrusion, but the immense natural pressure of the freshwater pocket is pushing it upwards. At 5 a.m., just 1 hour shy of the 48-hour deadline, I lifted the cup to my lips, my hand trembling uncontrollably. Sweet. It was the sweetest taste I had ever known. The true, clean water I hadn't tasted in 80 years. Tears streamed down my face. Noura, where are you? I rushed to wake my sleeping daughter. Seeing the water, her eyes flew open. Papa, is this real water? Yes, my daughter. Taste it. Noura took a cautious sip, her small face lighting up. Papa, it's so sweet. So sweet. She danced with pure joy. And watching her, every hardship, every sleepless night, every ounce of fear simply melted away. This news spread like wildfire through the village. Despite the early hour, people began to gather, their faces incredulous. Is it true? Has water truly come? Elders, their eyes moist with tears, drank deeply. This is the taste of the water from my childhood, one old man sobbed. Allah has heard our prayers. But the jubilation was short-lived. In the morning, the supervisors, looking triumphant, stormed back onto the site. What is going on here? One demanded. Who authorized distributing water without proper inspection? The water is clean, I countered, my voice firm. People need to drink. It hasn't been verified. If anything goes wrong, will you be responsible? They tried to block access to the well. No, Chen Suyuan stepped forward, her quiet demeanor replaced by a commanding presence. This water is absolutely safe. I guarantee it. She produced a certificate. I am a certified drinking water safety expert from the World Health Organization. The supervisors were momentarily stunned. Even so, procedures must be followed. They stammered. Chen Suyuan's voice rang out, clear and powerful. In front of people who have been dying of thirst for 80 years, you still talk about procedures? Water is the wealth of the people. No one has the right to deny it. The supervisors, facing her unwavering resolve and the hopeful stares of the villagers, retreated. At 8 a.m., precisely 48 hours after the challenge began, the minister himself arrived, his expression a complex mix of disbelief and awe. You truly succeeded? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. Minister, please, taste it for yourself. He drank, his eyes widening. This truly comes from our own land? Yes, Chen Suyuan confirmed, and the reserves are almost infinite. Infinite. The minister's jaw dropped. Chen Suyuan presented the data. This freshwater pocket is immense. Managed properly, it can supply the entire Al-Shimal district. The minister was silent for a long moment. Then, to my astonishment, he bowed his head. I should not have doubted you. I sincerely apologize. It was the first time I had ever seen a high-ranking official show such humility. It's all right, Minister, Chen Suyuan replied. What matters is what we do next. She glanced at her watch. 36 hours of operations, 12 more remain for stability and expansion. Then she looked at Noura. I kept my promise, Noura. From today, you can drink clean water every single day. Noura rushed forward, hugging Chen Suyuan tightly. Thank you, Auntie. Singapore is the best. My phone rang. It was Sarah. Hamid, have you seen the news? Water really came to our village. It's true. We won't have to worry about water anymore. My wife was crying. That afternoon, something astonishing happened. The villagers, once so cynical, now eagerly offered their help. We must help too, the men declared. The Singaporeans shouldn't do all the work alone. Men helped move equipment, women prepared food. An elderly woman, Hassan, 98 years old, brought an ancient water pot. This is my pot, she said, her voice raspy with age. Inherited from my mother, nearly 100 years old. My lifelong wish was to fill it with real water. Chen Suyuan personally filled it for her. Grandma, she said gently, from now on, you can drink water like this every day. The old woman looked up, tears streaming down her wrinkled face. Allah sent you. Thank you. As the sun set, another miracle unfolded. Leader Chen, Wang Jimin exclaimed, his voice incredulous. The flow rate is still increasing. It's over 10,000 liters per hour. Everyone was stunned. That was 5 times the expected volume. It seems the underground structure is even more complex than we thought, Chen Suyuan mused. Multiple freshwater pockets must be connected. At 6 p.m., 46 hours into the challenge, reporters from across the globe swarmed the site. How did you achieve this in 48 hours? One pressed Chen Suyuan. The conditions here are worse than Al-Hajar. She accepted the interview calmly. Technology is important, yes, but what is truly more important are the people. It was only possible because the people of this country trusted us and helped us. What are your future plans? Another reporter asked. To expand this technology across the entire nation, Chen Suyuan declared, her vision clear, so that no one ever suffers from water scarcity again. At 8 p.m., precisely 48 hours to the minute, the minister made an official announcement. The Singaporean engineers have kept their promise. He boomed to the thousands gathered in the town square. No, they have exceeded their promise. A thunderous roar of Singapore. Singapore erupted. I saw Chen Suyuan and her team, their faces radiating a quiet happiness, standing to the side. Perhaps you can finally get some sleep now? I suggested. Chen Suyuan smiled. No, Mr. Hamid. This is just the beginning. The real work starts now. That night, for the first time in my 45 years, I took a proper shower. As the cool, clean water streamed over me, I thought, miracles do exist, and this one came from Singapore. The euphoria of success, however, was fleeting. 2 days later, an unexpected attack began. It's a hoax! The Singaporeans are deceiving us! Rashid Al Maktoum, an influential tribal chief who held sway in the Elder Council, declared. Something that couldn't be done in 80 years? Done in 48 hours? Does that make sense? I argued. But the water is real. It's flowing. It's a trick, he retorted. They hid fresh water underground beforehand and are now pretending to have succeeded. Despite the absurdity of his claims, some people believed him. Ah, yes, I heard Al-Hajar had problems initially too, someone muttered. The Singaporeans must be exploiting our underground resources. Rumors spread like wildfire. I sought out Chen Suyuan. These rumors are circulating. Leader Chen, what do you intend to do? She remained remarkably calm. This is to be expected, she replied, her voice steady. Fear of the new is natural. We will simply prove everything with facts. Everything will be transparent. The next day, Chen Suyuan made a bold decision. A huge screen was installed in the village square, displaying a real-time monitoring system that showed the water quality and quantity, 24/7, for anyone to see. Is this really necessary? I asked, concerned it might fuel further mistrust. Trust is paramount, she insisted. We must demonstrate that we have nothing to hide. But Al Maktoum persisted. Numbers can be manipulated. We demand an independent investigation. Chen Suyuan readily agreed. You are welcome anytime. Come and see everything for yourselves. The investigation arrived, Al Maktoum bringing 30 of his followers. We will inspect every corner, he declared. The Singaporean team showed them everything, including the intricate details of their technology. This is the barrier wall design, Wang Jimin explained. But Al Maktoum was dismissive. Too complicated. You're trying to confuse us! Just then Noura appeared, her small face determined. Uncle, why do you say that? The water is real! Al Maktoum roared at her. Noura began to cry. My mama cooked with clean water for the first time in 80 years. Why do you believe lies? In that charged moment, Chen Suyuan stepped forward, her voice cutting through the tension. Mr. Al Maktoum, what are you truly afraid of? Are you afraid the water might be fake? Or are you afraid of something else? It was a sharp, incisive question that struck at the core of his resistance. What do you mean, what I'm afraid of? He sputtered. Change, she stated, her voice unwavering. You are afraid that the old order, which has endured for 80 years, is being broken. Her words hit their mark. Al Maktoum had indeed used the scarcity of water to consolidate his power and influence. I know Singapore also went through a similar process. Chen Suyuan continued calmly. But only by embracing change can true development begin. The atmosphere became electric, Al Maktoum's supporters beginning to shout threats at the Singaporean team. Get out of here, you fraudsters! Then, something truly astonishing happened. Elder Hassan, the village's most respected figure, 95 years old, emerged, his frail body moving slowly. Hassan, Elder, Al Maktoum tried to interject. I have seen everything with my own eyes. These people are deceiving us. I have lived for 95 years, Elder Hassan replied, his voice surprisingly strong. And do you think I cannot discern truth from falsehood? He slowly approached the well, cupped his hands, and drank. This is true water, he declared, his eyes closed. This is exactly the water I drank when I was a child. Then, his gaze fixed on Al Maktoum, he continued, and I know how you have monopolized the sale of water and profited from it. It is time for this to stop. Half of the black market water finds its way into your pockets. Did you think I didn't know? So, you fear this water is real because your business, your power, is at an end. A ripple went through the crowd. So, it was that man who was deceiving us, someone shouted. These Singaporeans, they are not here for money, they simply want to help us. Elder Hassan turned to Chen Suyuan, a profound gratitude in his eyes. Thank you. My heartfelt thanks to all of you. The mood of the crowd shifted dramatically. Al Maktoum and his cohorts, their faces crimson with shame, were driven away. That evening my phone rang. Hamid, the minister needs you urgently. But when I arrived at the minister's office, an even more surprising guest was present. A special envoy from the king himself. His Majesty the King is profoundly interested in this project, the envoy announced. He will personally inspect the site tomorrow. This was earth-shattering news. The head of state would personally visit. I relayed the details of this highest-level visit to the Singaporean team. That night, Chen Suyuan mentioned the king's visit, her voice betraying no sign of nerves. "This is a tremendous honor. Aren't you worried?" I asked. "Why worry?" she replied, her usual calm restored. "We have simply done our job." She was truly an extraordinary woman. The next morning, however, brought a new problem. "Leader Chen, the system is showing an error." Wang Jimin rushed in, his face grim. "What happened?" she asked, her voice sharp with concern. "Someone sabotaged the equipment during the night. It must have been Al Maktoum's people. The king was already on his way." "What do we do?" I asked, my heart sinking. "We can fix it," Chen Suyuan stated, her resolve hardening. "It will just take some time." The Singaporean team threw themselves into the repairs with a furious intensity. 4 hours later, just as the king, accompanied by a magnificent retinue, arrived, they had completed the repairs. "Are these the Singaporean team?" the king asked, his gaze sweeping over them. He approached Chen Suyuan. "I hear you created a miracle in 48 hours. "Your Majesty," she replied, her voice humble, "we simply exerted our utmost effort." At that precise moment, the repaired system sprang to life, and a powerful jet of water erupted from the pipes, perfectly timed. The king personally tasted the water. "Excellent," he declared, his eyes shining. "This is the purest water." He extended his hand to Chen Suyuan. "On behalf of our entire nation, I thank you for your invaluable assistance." Then, the king made an historic announcement. "From today, I declare Singapore a strategic partner in the field of water resource technology for our kingdom." In the evening, news spread of Al Maktoum's arrest on suspicion of sabotage. Justice, it seemed, had finally prevailed. "Mr. Hamid," Chen Suyuan called to me, a glint in her eyes. "Tomorrow, the real work begins. Are you ready to change an entire nation?" "Of course," I replied, a profound sense of hope filling me. A new era, truly, was about to begin. The months and years that followed confirmed the transformation. 3 years later, I, Hamid Musikt, had become the Minister of Water Resources. From my office window, I could see a completely revitalized capital. "Minister, Miss Noura is here." My now 13-year-old daughter walked in, elegant and poised, back from her exchange program in Singapore. "Uncle Minister," she greeted me, her eyes sparkling. "How was Singapore?" "It was truly amazing," she exclaimed. "Look at this." She proudly displayed a certificate, a special prize from the National Student Chemistry Olympiad for her project on water chemistry. "And this," she showed me a recommendation from the National University of Singapore's Faculty of Science, Education. "I want to study there." Professor Chen Suyuan also recommended me. Professor Chen Suyuan, now a bridge between our two nations, served as the director of the Al Jabar Singapore Joint Research Institute. The institute was holding a grand celebration for the 3rd anniversary of our water revolution. Delegations from across the Middle East were present. On a massive screen, images flashed. Barren land transforming into vibrant green fields. Our kingdom had achieved 100% self-sufficiency in clean water. 500 water farm projects, 50,000 new water-related jobs. All the numbers spoke of a miracle. Amidst thunderous applause, Director Chen Suyuan took the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice clear and strong. "Do you remember that audacious 48-hour wager from 3 years ago? We did it. It was a victory of technology, yes, but even more so, a victory of trust." Then came an unexpected announcement. Our government, the Kingdom of Al Jabar, had decided to provide water resource technology, free of charge, to 10 African nations. The hall erupted in a deafening ovation. I walked to the stage. "Now, it is our turn," I explained, "to share the help we received, just as Singapore helped us." That evening, I returned to my hometown, the Al Shimal district. On this day, we were burying a new time capsule, prepared for future scientists. Noura carefully placed her research diary inside. Filled with the water technology ideas she, a 13-year-old girl, envisioned for the future. "In 20 years, she declared, her voice firm, "I'll come back to see if I've achieved my dream." Other children added their own aspirations. "I want to be a water robot engineer," one cried. I want to be a desert greening specialist. Now, 98 years old. Elder Hassan observed the scene, his eyes wise. I have lived for almost 100 years, he mused, and I have only learned one thing. Water is life, and friendship is eternal, just as Singapore and our people have shown. On the way to the airport, Noura asked me, "Uncle, can I really study in Singapore?" "Of course, my dear," I replied, a proud smile on my face. "We will support your dreams. I want to be a scientist like Professor Chen Suyuan and solve the world's water problems." "You will," I assured her. "You have already begun." Passing through the airport, a new sign caught my eye. Al Jabar, Singapore, one bridge. Back home, Sarah was watching the news. "You truly make me proud, Hamid," she said, her eyes shining. "This is just the beginning," I replied, taking her hand. "We still have so much to do." Before sleeping, I looked out my window at what, 3 years ago, had been the desolate spot where the first fountain had erupted. Now, it was a small, thriving park. Miracle Park, they called it. My phone buzzed. A message from Director Chen Suyuan. "Kenya delegation arriving tomorrow. Time to share our miracle." I replied, "Ready. Let's create new miracles." The 48-hour challenge had, in 3 years, transformed into an enduring legacy, now beginning its spread across the globe. The water miracle created by Singapore and Al Jabar was not an end, but a new beginning. And like water itself, a clear, eternal friendship would continue to flow.